Hello everybody, welcome to Marketing Analytics course. This is week 3 session 2. We are talking about segmentation, targeting, positioning. This is Dr. Sagar Chatterjee from VGSOM IIT Kharagpur who is taking the course for you. So till the last class we have discussed up to women. So up to this, and I will continue. So another important thing that we talk about is geographic segmentation. And this is a picture that I have collected from social media, and the source is given. I am not sure how true and false this thing is, but a clear thing that I can see that how geographic segmentation you can do. So this is about behavior actually, how people eat, what people eat, whether they are non-veg or veg. So food preference, as simple as that. Now, can you see this picture and say that is there a pattern between the reds and the greens, why the greens are high and why the reds are high? You will see that in the coastal area reds are high. Why? Because in the coastal area fish is available probably, it's more easy to get food, probably, I am not sure, I am just giving a reason. And then you will see that also in the hilly regions, the northeast and in Kashmir, now it is Ladakh and Jammu and Kashmir, in that place probably also the non-veg eating is more. So less it has to do with probably religion or something else, more with something with availability of non-veg. So in the hilly region probably agriculture is not so common, and probably there is more means winter is more strong, and that is why there can be a one reason that okay, non-veg is more strong there. On the other, vegetarian food habits is more strong in places like let us say Punjab and Haryana and Rajasthan and Gujarat. So these are the places where people, so geographic region, so these are the places where agriculture is strong, and that is why people might like to. So even UP is almost 50-50. So UP there is very strong agriculture, and that is why probably that is why the vegetarian food eating habits are more there. So all I am trying to say here in this particular case is that sometimes geographical parameters also define your behavior. So you can do a behavioral segmentation based on let us say vegetarian food habit or non-vegetarian food habit, and then geography can explain why. So why this behavior can be explained by geographical parameters. Another easy example I will talk about demographic or demographic preferences is the Indian wedding market. So can you tell me what are the various things based on which you can actually find out or differentiate people or create segments. So one thing, so you will see there are lots of filters, and the filters are actually in Matrimony's website, the filters that you put, those are exactly what are the demographic factors based on which people choose, people segment. For example, language is one, so you have Bengali matrimony, Punjabi matrimony and so on. And then the states, so because sometimes language is related to state, so they are correlated. Caste and religion is a very major thing till now in India based on which marriage decisions are taken. Life stage is a matter of fact. So whether you are in the early stage, let us say 20s or 30s or 40s, that also decides. So I will not say age, I will say life stage. Then past history. So there are people who are divorcees, let us say, or who are widowers or whatever. So they might prefer people who are of similar history of this thing. So past history, whether you want a person who has this kind of history or not, also is something that creates the market, that segments the market. Educational background, we have IIT IIM Shadi.com, so which is like for premier I would say students or premier institutes, we have a separate matrimony website. So even that becomes a segmentation strategy or segmentation variable when you are talking about market. And then profession is obviously. Geographic segmentation is something that is also important, and we have seen McDonald's choosing their geographies, which geography they will open up and which geography will not open up based on this kind of segmentation strategy. The next one is psychographic. Psychographic talks about your overall psychology. So it talks about your preference, the traits, lifestyle, values and etc. For example, Indian music customers, if I talk about them, there are fanatics, there are enthusiasts, there are casuals, and there are indifferent. So, based on how much I would say, based on how much focused on, so fanatics are people who are very focused about, so they do not have very much breadth, but they have very high depth. So, that is something that matters for fanatics. On the other hand, for enthusiasts, they have a little bit more depth, more less depth and more breadth. So, as the depth comes down and as the breadth width goes up, means I actually listen to multiple different kinds of music, but I do not actually focus on the nitty-gritty of the music. As I do that, I come down from fanatics to indifferent, and it's almost, it's like a pyramid only. The fanatics are 14%, enthusiasts are 25%. So, these are actually preferences based on which I am creating segments. So, how I will know about them? I will have to track what kind of movies they are, what kind of music they are listening in Gaana.com, or what kind of I would say in MeraEvents.com, what kind of I would say what kind of tickets they are buying, of which kind of concerts, and etc. So, those kind of things can give an idea who is a fanatic, who is an enthusiast, and so on. And when we talk about Western music, there are people who are more engaged, less engaged, that is number thing. Another thing that comes up is more social. So, whether you want to talk about your music preference or not, do you want to, this is a picture that has been taken from Brands in Town website, and there are more social to less social, and then more engaged to less engaged. And you, in these two parameters, you have people who are super fans, there are people who are plugged indies, soloists are actually, they are not social, they do not prefer to go with, they want to enjoy their music alone, and etc. There are people who are dedicated diehards, so they are passionate about rock music and stuck in a different time period at all. So, they do not, so these old school dedicated diehards go to fewer shows, but are willing to invest when they do. So, they want to pay a lot. And then there are tag-alongs. Tag-alongs are basically those people who will go with somebody else. Somebody else's preference matter more than their preference, and they will go with somebody else and go there and have enjoy. So, enjoying, the social enjoying is more matters to them rather than their preference towards the music. And then comes the behavioral segmentation. In the behavioral segmentation, this is something I am talking for so long, that behavioral segmentation matters, and so here you actually track people's behavior, and that is the closest thing to the purchase, and that is why this is something that matters more. So, where we are marketers dividing buyers into groups on the basis of knowledge about their attitude towards a product, use of a product, and response towards a product, something like that. So, we generally try to find out the needs and benefits of the customers, and we also find out the decision roles. I talked about that at a previous point, that there will be some people who are the initiator, who will just say that okay, this thing should be buy, and there will be some people who are influencers, who have more social connections and they influence others to buy as well. Then somebody actually makes the call that okay, whether it will be bought or not. In a household case, it is sometimes the bread earner. In other cases, depending on the social involvement in the family or social involvement in the outside, who is the person, it varies. And then there is a buyer who goes and actually buys it. And why that matters? Because actually when he is buying, in that moment of truth, things can change. So, actually buyer is also an important thing. And then comes the user who will actually use it, because a user, if you do not consider them, then the post purchase satisfaction is not there, then the further customer relationship management and etc. goes for a toss. So, that is also an important thing. You have to know what is the role of the various persons in a purchase decision making process. So, that is also something that we can try to track out from a customer segmentation strategy. How that matters? So, this is a classic example of this behavioral segmentation. So, let us say people when they buy the pregnancy test kits, there can be two reasons. One is there is a planned pregnancy, that they are trying to be pregnant and they are looking for a baby, and when at that point of time you go for a pregnancy test, you are very hopeful in nature. On the other hand, if you are unplanned pregnancy, or that is something which is very difficult for you, it will be difficult for your mental problem, for your social problem, and for sometimes your physical problem as well, that if you do not want to have a baby and you got pregnant. So, in that case it is a fearful situation. So, both a hopeful and fearful situation. Now, the product is same. Now, the same product is where people use the same product in two different situations with two different uses. The usage of these two products are different. So, their buying pattern are different and etc. So, then there is a brand name called Conceive and then Fact Plus. Fact Plus is more informative. So, I will give you a information that whether you are pregnant or not, and in this case I am giving a feeling that I am giving you an information, but along with that I am also giving you a very lots of dreams and hopes and whatever this and that. So, that is why Conceive. And then the packaging is different. In one case the packaging is very beautiful, there is a bird or a flower or a baby's face on the package. In another case it is very stock, it is black lettering, so more informative, more fear generating and etc. One is kept just beside in a retail store. If it is a big retail store, it is kept just beside the probably condoms or contraceptive pills and etc. etc. In another case, it is placed in a probably near ovulation testing kit or any other place where this where people actually are tracking about their pregnancy. So, how in those kind of places it is kept. And the most important part is the price. In one case it is hopeful, it is something that people actually pray for quite some time, and that is why when that happens you are willing to pay more. It is a mood setting kind of thing. You will pay more when your mood is happy. So, I will charge you more in that case, and the chances of you being pregnant when you are trying to be pregnant is high. So, that is why even if I pay you more, this kind of problem will not happen, that okay, you tested and you are not pregnant. So, then that I can get $19.5. On the other case the charges are less. Now, these can be depending on social situation, this can be altered. You can say that okay, if they are fearful, I can in a fear people can charge more, that can be altered, but I am not sure whether that happens. I will give you another example. So, I have seen this thing in a LinkedIn post by one of my connection, where he is showing that same company, absolutely same product. This is actually a the ear plug, the not ear plug, I would say earphone. Now, earphone can also be used with mobile phone and laptop. Now, if you are a laptop user and if you have gone to a, let us say I do not know, Dell store and buying a this thing, buying a ear plug, and the same thing you are going to a probably a Samsung store or not even Samsung store, let us say a mobilestore.com kind of store, and there you are buying the ear plug. All I am trying to say is that they know that this guy is coming to, this guy is a laptop owner and this guy is a mobile phone owner. So, there is a difference between, always there is a difference in an average laptop owner and an average mobile phone owner. So, the same product, when it is put in the laptop, the design, absolutely all the components are same. One is in black box, one is in white box, one is probably 200 rupees, another is 400 rupees. Because mobile phone people might not want to pay 400 rupees, on the other hand laptop accessory 400 rupees is okay. So, the same product is being sold in two different places based on the usage. So, all I am trying to say is these are all behavioral segmentation. So, usage also depends on the occasion of use, the user status, usage rate in whether you are a frequent user or non-frequent user, the buyer readiness stage more applicable for technology products, whether you are ready to adopt this kind of technology or not, the loyalty status, whether you are a loyal customer or whether you are a variety seeking kind of customer, and your attitude. So, all of these related variables we consider when we do behavioral segmentation. Now, the last thing that becomes important is when you will say that a segment is good enough. It has to be identifiable, accessible, appropriately sized, differentiated, stable and measurable. Stable means if I change the method or if time passes, this segmentation should be there. Identifiable means there should be, so when we do segmentation and then after creating the segments we define the segments, we have to define with identifiable attributes. What is identifiable attribute? Demographic, tangible attributes, demographic, geographic, sometimes behavior, psychographic also. So, more tangible attributes should be there, so that I can identify when a person comes in my room, comes in my company, comes in my online e-commerce. I will know that which type of customer he is, and it has to be differentiated. Differentiated means that people who are of different groups. So, let us say there are two types of segmentation. In one segmentation, the mean is here, and the segment's mean is here. Same distance in both the cases, but in one case these are the two segments. In another case, these are the two segments. Which segmentation is better? This is better because this is where the two segments, there is no middle area, no overlapping area. So, when there is no overlapping area, that means what I am saying, that people who are in the same segment are closer to each other, people who are from different segments are very away from each other. So, that is what is important. So, that is what comes in the differentiated part. So, when I am saying that they should be differentiated, that means this. And then we decide, now we have to decide that which segment I will target. And target, when I am deciding, as I was telling, that it is not based on the money that you are getting, whether from the tea, hot tea or the cold iced tea. It also depends on whether you are capable, whether you have enough resources to capture that market or not. So, segment size, growth, value of the segment is one side, current company position and ease of entry of the segment, resource part is one other side, and ease of competitive entry in the segment, number and strength of the competitors. All of these things together create a matrix like this. One is segment attractiveness, you define your way, I will not say that. Segment attractiveness, another is competitive strength. In segment attractiveness, it is high to low. In competitive strength also it is high to low. Competitive strength means how well you are there to capture the market, and segment attractiveness means how attractive, that can be the overall revenue, the revenue into the individual revenue or overall profit that you can make if you capture the segment, etc., etc. So, whenever you are high, so I would say whenever you are above this level. So, if you draw a diagonal line like this, so all this, this one, the perfect one, so you have to go from stay away to perfect, this direction you have to move when you are targeting which segment. So, we actually find out lots of segments and then we position them, those segments, in this matrix to see that what is their position, and we, based on that, we try to decide that which segment I will target. For example, simple calculation. So, let us say Barry, Jill, Buzz, this is a classic B2B classic case on Best Buy. You can search for Best Buy customer centricity in Google and you will get the case study for this. I am not going to do that. This is something, it is an assignment, you try to do that. And then there are these 5 segments: Barry, Jill, Buzz, Ray and BB4B, and their yearly purchase values are given. The total percentage of customers who belong to this segment is given. The margin is given, number of competitors and capability to serve, high or low. So, these values are given. And now, I will, so whom should I target? Basic thing, whom should I target? So, based on this, the first 4 columns, I have to decide that whom I will target. So, I will quickly do this. What I will do is, I will create a new Excel file. So, STP, let us say, and I will copy this and I will paste it here. Let us paste as, okay. So, these are my, this is the values that has been given to me. So, can I quickly calculate something? So, this is yearly purchase, this is percentage of total customers, margin and number of competitors. So, how much money I can generate out of this? The money I can generate is, just check. So, this is my yearly purchase. If there are 100 customers, then this into 2 is my total revenue, into this is my, this by 100 is my profit margin. So, this is my profit, and divided by number of competitors plus 1. If I assume that every competitor gets same thing, then this is my total money that I will get. And so, money earned, and if I just drag it, then this is what I get. So, which one is the highest, most attractive? This is highly attractive. fair enough. And this is the lowest at, okay, so this is in order. So, let us say this is high, this is medium and medium, and this is low and low, and then this is the attractiveness, and then what about the other one? The other one is this one. So, this is the capability to serve the segment. So, this is the capability to serve the segment. So, now this is high medium, high is nobody. So, I cannot capture that, but high, so then what I will see, I will either capture high medium or medium high, any one of these things I will choose. So, because this is the next two quadrants, and the rest of the things probably I will not choose. I will choose either target Barry or target Jill depending on the situations. So, this is something that I am trying to say, that this is how we decide that which segment we will choose, and then based on this, if I choose the segment, then the next job is to position my product in that particular segment. So, positioning means you have to create your identity. So, just tell me in your mind, or take a pen or paper and write down. I will show you some product categories and the first brand that comes in your mind. Just write down in a pen and paper. I will show you certain product categories, the first brand that comes to your mind. Soft drinks, written down. Coffee, write it down, please write it down, yes. And then bottled water, and then beer, let's. So, do not worry, even if you do not consume, just write it down, whatever name comes in your mind. And then just check that whether these are the brand names that came in your mind or not. Some may have, for some it might match, some it might not match. What I am trying to say is that these are the brands which are in top of your mind, and this is something that you, when you try to position yourself, this is something is your goal, that how to, whenever somebody thinks about a product category, I should be in the top of his mind. The more I am in the top of the mind of the customer, the more is the chance that I will be there in the choice set, and the more I am in the choice set, the more is the chance that I will be chosen. So, based on that, people try to position themselves when they are targeting a segment. So, so this is called share of, there is share of market, which is market share, then share of mind and share of heart. These are the certain things that they try to achieve. And how they try to achieve? So, for example, this is the customer preference. So, there is competitor A, competitor B and competitor C, and there are certain 5 factors, and based on that he give rating. So, E means excellent, G means good, P means poor, F means fair. So, customers, you have to see, you have to go and ask the customers and how you rate these things based on if I am competitor A versus B or versus C. So, you have to ask the customers how they prefer, they are your competitors. You are, let us say you are Coke and your competitor is Pepsi, and then let us say Thumbs Up is also your own product, but still might sometimes cannibalize Coke, and then something else. And you want to know that, okay, the taste, the price, the packaging and blah blah blah, whatever aspects, how people are rating. There should be some ratings that you can collect, and the average rating is actually posted here. And then based on this, you want to create point of difference and point of parity. What is point of difference? Point of difference is the attributes or benefits that consumers strongly associate with the brand and say that and positively evaluate, and they say that this is the reason I am choosing this. This is the reason why I am choosing, let us say, Coke versus Pepsi, because Coke is like this or because Thumbs Up is like this. So, that is what called point of difference, which should be desirable, deliverable and differentiating and so on. On the other hand, for example, let us say people at one point of time, this point of difference was done by Apple when Apple and Nike came into together and created a product where you can actually run, and then during the running, depending on the speed of the running, the music will change. So, that is something which was a point of difference. FedEx introduced the overnight express shipping, which is the first introduction, which was a point of difference. For that, people chose FedEx over DHL or many other logistic firms at certain point of time. And then what is point of parity? Point of parity is attitude or benefit which is needed to think that okay, this brand belongs to this product category. So, the brand but may in fact be shared with other brands. For example, let us say if you are Yippi and if you want to be considered as equivalent to noodles, instant noodles, there has to be certain characteristics. So, those are the things which are category specific, correlational, sometimes competitive in nature, those are called point of parity. So, point of parity is required to target in the segment, and point of difference is required to position in the segment. So, to be relevant for a segment, you have to have point of parity. To be different from your competitors, you need points of difference. So, that is how you create the mixture of your product attributes. For example, another example of point of parity and point of difference is, for example, at one point of time Tanishq was giving an ad where Tanishq was saying that okay, so you can try this thing. So, there was Alia Bhatt's I think Tanishq, I forgot this thing, there was Alia Bhatt's ad where Alia Bhatt is actually using trying out I would say jewelry at home, and she is like a small girl who is in the under the closed door. She is dancing with the jewelry, and in her fantasy world she is doing this and that, and then she comes out. The representative from the company is sitting outside the room. She comes out and says like in a very I would say formal voice that okay, I will take this. So, all I am trying to say is that you are allowed to be childish, or you are allowed to be young when you are buying a jewelry, or you are allowed to be in a fantasy world when and you can be that at your home. So, they are trying to create a point of difference by saying that you can be at your home, and they are trying to create point of parity in terms of youngness by showing this fantasy thing. So, this the thing that you are dancing and jumping and this and that is trying to say that okay, my products, my brand is young, my products are young, my products are contemporary, we are not traditional, because jewelry market is heavily traditional. So, we are not traditional jewelry sellers, we are very young, we are energetic and etc. So, that is how we are creating point of parity with the all other products which are also energetic in nature, energetic in their view, but I am creating point of difference from my category by saying that I am energetic, that is number 1, I am non-traditional, that is number 1. Number 2 is you can try at your home and it is free. So, that is those are all of the stuff which are in point of, and then based on this you try to position yourself. So, we try to create something called perceptual map, and we try to position yourself in the currently given offerings and see that how good we are or how bad we are. So, that is all about segmentation, targeting, positioning. I have talked about lot. Now, all of these things are a little bit flowery. We will do the maths now, how to do segmentation and how to actually create I would say targeting from those segments whom I should target, and once I decide that how I will position. So, how to create perceptual maps and how to actually position your product in the perceptual map. This is something we are going to do in the next videos. Thank you for being with me. This is marketing analytics course, and I hope you are enjoying. We will continue in the next video.